Hey guys, I'm George Lambert with Mountain Music and Mules. Today's video is going to be about a very controversial subject, or what can be a very controversial subject in the world of hound owners. And that topic is dog food. There's so many people have different reasons they feed what. And what I found is, speaking for me personally, I could talk dog food with the best of them. And up to a couple months ago, I'd never actually really sat down and researched it out and kind of did my homework. Make sure to stay to the end of this video and I'll do a little bit of the breakdown of the price comparison and just let you guys know exactly what it's cost me to maintain a dog with Inukshuk 3025. I've always fed Pride for years. Green bag, orange bag, kind of just bouncing back and forth as I need it. I've always been pretty happy with it. I've never had really any problems. Towards the end of the year when I'm hunting really hard and the days are getting long and the weather's kind of getting nasty, then I have always noticed that I typically would have to add some kind of supplement just to keep them dogs, to keep their weight up where they should be. But that was always at the end of the year and I never really thought too much of it. I just was having to battle trying to keep up their weight and energy. So, and then this year, which is 2024, at the first of the year, like I think it was like February, March, somewhere in there, I started having trouble getting Pride. And you could get it a bag or so at a time, but I couldn't buy it by the ton. And I like buying my feed in bulk. Feed that caught my attention, and looking into it, I didn't really read anything negative about it, is Inukshuk 3025. If anything negative at all that you'd read about it would be the price point. The reason I believe is our standard dog food is kind of became the normal is to get 50-pound bags. Inukshuk 3025, which is the one that I'm familiar with, it comes in a 33-pound bag. So it seems small and you're paying roughly anywhere, you buy it in bulk, but you're paying anywhere from $44 up to $50 a bag, which seems really high to be paying that much money for a 33-pound bag. But I got to thinking about it and looking at the calories that it had per cup. I got to thinking that maybe there was some way that that 33-pound bag could be somewhat comparable to our normal 50-pound bags. I could talk all day about ingredients, and yeah, I will eventually have a video out on the nutritional side of dog food, but in reality, I'm just an old country boy. Like a lot of you guys, I need and want four things. I need the dogs to run faster, harder, longer. I want the kennel cleanup to be fast and easy as possible. I want the dogs to be and look healthy. And then I need the feed that does all them things. I need it to be, one of the most important is affordable. I basically want to feed the best possible feed that I can afford for my hounds. So I've fed Pride for years. I know exactly how it works on the dogs. I know how much I need to feed just to maintain the dogs during the summer. I know how much I need to step it up in the winter when I start hunting them pretty hard. So I'm very familiar with it. But what I wanted to do with the Inukshuk was weigh every single one of my hounds before I even fed a single bite of it. And then I wanted to go roughly 60 days, reweigh them, reevaluate, and just see if they added weight or lost, just try to get a comparison. I started off feeding 2 cups a day per dog with the intention of going 60 days and then weighing again. But I noticed roughly 30 days into it, the dogs seemed to be looking a little bit more, what's a good word for it, plump, bigger, fatter. I figured I better stop a minute, check them out, and kind of reevaluate where I was. So roughly 30 days into it, each of my dogs on average had gained roughly 3 to 5 pounds with roughly 2 cups of Inukshuk per day. I went ahead and backed them down to my bigger dogs. Right now they're getting 1.5 cups a day, and my smaller ones are getting about 1.25 cups, and it's working perfect. They're maintaining their weight just right, hanging right where they should be. So I think I've narrowed it down to exactly where I need to be during the summer. So first off, to maintain a typical 45 to 65 pound hound in the off season, which is when I'm not running them, they're not getting much exercise other than running around in the yard, just the basic kennel life, I need roughly 1,000 to 1,200 calories per day is roughly how much their body just uses. Right now it's super hot. Our highs are in the 90s most days, and the dogs are really extremely lazy, for a better word of it. They're just laying around, pretty much sleeping constantly, or just laying out in the shade. So I'm probably around that 800 to 1,000 calories per day is what I'm needing right now. But on average, my typical dog needs about 1,100 calories per day in the off season. Every pack is different, the style you hunt, and each individual dog plays a part. But here are some eye-opening numbers that really made me see why my personal pack, a lot of times their weight falls off in the late winter when I'm running them really hard and they're using a lot of calories. Also, in the numbers that I'm getting ready to share, I just want to make it clear, when I reference a cup, that is the actual standard measuring cup, not your typical Rid Solo cup or anything like that. In the month of December, on average, my normal hounds are using up to 84,000 calories during the month of December. And how I'm getting that number is, on a hard day, a dog uses up to 6,000 calories per day. Your typical moderate day, and yeah, there's a lot of variables, but on your typical day, when you got them in the truck, riding them around, when you take walks, you put on a normal chase that don't last real long, basically the dogs aren't dead tired when you get them home. I'm calling that a moderate day. The dogs are using probably roughly around 2,500 calories per day. And then of course, kind of like I was saying before, on a rest day, when they're not doing anything, say you got rained out, or maybe you're going to church on a Sunday morning, whatever the case, the dogs laying around in the kennel, they're only using about 1,100 calories per day. So what I personally did is I went back over last December, looked at all my notes, all my records, figured out how many hard days, how many moderate days, and then how many days I just got rained out or went to church. And it was pretty easy to come up with a total, which was roughly 84,000 calories is what my dogs burned during December. Now that 84,000 calories, then that roughly gives you an idea of what you need to average out per day to keep them dogs in tip-top shape and have the most energy possible. So breaking that down, they need an intake of 2,800 calories a day. So with the Inukshuk 3025, which is 578 calories per cup, that means I need to feed roughly 4 3/4 cups a day during December. I'm kind of getting a little ahead of myself with that information. I really don't know if it's exact yet because I haven't hunted with this feed. So I'm looking forward to seeing, testing that out. A few of the other local hunters that I know that I can trust their judgment and their numbers. I can trust their numbers. It worked pretty good on average with what they see. Keep that in mind. And if you want to jot this down, and this is the calorie count for the basic bear hound in Virginia and West Virginia, is what I'm based it on. But a dog that is hanging around in the kennel, you need 1,100 calories per day, roughly. Dog that you're out running moderate, not too hard, but you're doing it in consecutive days, you probably need roughly 2,000 to 2,500 calories per day. And then on them really hard long days, you probably could figure anywhere from 5,000 to 6,000 calories that they have the potential to use. So, and then that break that down and I'll give you a rough idea. If you want to take a minute and grab your personal bag of dog food, if you're looking down through the ingredients, look at the very bottom. On typical bags, somewhere below the ingredients, there'll be a couple numbers that's pretty important on a dog food bag. ME, which stands for metabolizable energy, and I struggle with saying that just right, but metabolizable energy, and it'll tell you how many calories per kilogram. And then right beside that, usually there's another number, which is the kcals per cup. Do the math and they'll tell you roughly what you need to be feeding, how many cups you need to be feeding per day to maintain your dog. Let me give you a rough, quick breakdown on how to actually figure out exactly how much you're feeding and put a dollar to it. You can see how much it's costing you to feed your dogs. Okay, use your personal bag weight. With the Inukshuk that I'm using as example, it's 33 pounds. Take your total bag weight and divide that by 2.205, and that converts your pounds to kilograms. All right, so the Inukshuk has 14.96 kilograms of dog food in one bag. Now you take the ME number and times that by the total kilograms in your bag, and that tells you how many calories is in your bag of dog food. Now take your total calorie number and divide that by the kcals per cup to get the total cups per bag. Then you take your total cups and divide that by the daily portion that you feed, and that will tell you how many days one bag of dog food will feed one dog. Then you take your bag cost. With the Inukshuk, what I paid my last pallet is roughly figured $44 a bag. You take your bag cost and divide that by the numbers of days that you can feed, and that will tell you the average cost per day. So then times your daily cost times 30 to get an average monthly cost. Remember, as you step up portions, when you hunt more, that number could change. All right, so for me to feed the Inukshuk 3025, a top quality dog food with awesome ingredients, it's been an amazing difference as far as cleanup in the kennel. The dogs are very healthy, they look awesome. It is costing me right now 62 cents a day to maintain a dog. So with no running or hunting, that is averaging about a little over $18 a month. Now, as a comparison, in the past I've fed Pride, orange bag, green bag. For the green bag of Pride, even though the bag is 50 pounds and it's only costing me about $33 a bag, it's still, when you actually sit down and do the numbers, it's still costing me 53 cents a day, which figures up to almost $16 a month. Very comparable. So let me be clear, I'm not putting Pride down at all. I fed it for years, was very happy with it. But what I will say, for what is it, basically 9 cents, 10 cents a day difference, I'm very happy with the Inukshuk 3025. Just seeing the results I've seen so far, I'm looking at the ingredients on the back of the bag, which I will eventually have another video about, and I'm excited to hunt with this feed and just see what it does. Now, I want to be total transparent. I'm not sponsored by Inukshuk. I don't even really know the guys up there that well, but if any of you are interested in trying out a pallet of Inukshuk, when you call up there, they will ask if you heard from anybody about this dog food. Mention my name, George Lambert, or my channel name, Mountain Music and Mules. If you listen much to like Heath Hyatt, his podcast, mention his name. They said that they will possibly knock a little bit off my personal next pallet, which would really help me. I'm just doing this video because I like this dog food so far. I'm not doing it to actually try to make money or save money. It's not the case. I just wanted to make that clear and put that out there. So this isn't a dog food debate video, but leave me a comment below. What dog food do you use? Why do you use it? And I would love to have the numbers, the ME numbers and the calories per cup, the kcals. And how much does it cost to feed a dog per day? And so for me to prefigure the potential calories that they're probably going to use if my season is kind of typical, kind of normal, then I can roughly figure that I will probably spend a little over $300 a year per dog for a Inukshuk 3025. Keep an eye out for future videos when I'll kind of update and see if pretty correct far as what I think I will use during hunting season. Thank y'all for watching. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.